The Perfect Neighbor is a Netflix documentary that just came out. I didn't know much about it. I could have looked it up, but I didn't want to. I wanted to go into this movie just like blind, and following a neighborhood of houses that are being rented, and one of them is Susan Lawrence. She is Karen. She's like, she moved in about a year after this other family, and she doesn't like kids playing at all, even if they're not on her property, but she always goes out there and screams at them and picks fights with them, and then cops get called all the time. Cops show up and say, hey, you can't, be yelling at the kids, and kids don't yell back, tell your parents. And most of this movie is done only through the lens of body cam. So there's no interviews with people. There's no, there's a couple of, transition shots, but literally like 90% of this film is body cam, interrogation footage, and then courtroom footage at the very end. So this is a very, not cold, but I just want to say it's very clinical in terms of its representation. There's no, person saying like, I was there, it sucked, and this, no, it's all just there on body cam. So the first, it's a little long. The first like 30 minutes or so is just like all the body cam footage of this Susan woman being a Karen and complaining about every little thing. And the kids like to play football or whatever, and she just makes up stuff, says like, oh, he tried to put the dog in my truck, or, she'll just use her truck alarm to like make noise because she just wants to interrupt their playtime. She's the ultimate Karen. However, she also pulled out a gun on a mom when the mom came over to confront her about something, and this turns into a stand your ground case. So they didn't immediately charge her, and there was a lot of outrage from the black community, and then finally, within the last like 5 minutes of this documentary, we get the sentencing. So this is a very simple, moving documentary, but honestly, there's not much in terms of artistic value. I mean, it honestly felt like I was just watching a chain of body cam videos on YouTube, which I often do for interesting cases, but those are usually edited down, or they build up to something, then they show. This was just basically this unfair thing happened, it sucked, and it's over. And just, there's not much, I don't need interviews or stuff like that, but the pacing, it's almost 2 hours long. It's definitely was made just as a tribute to the victims of the person who was shot, which is fine, but kind of feel like this, is just like a chain of footage, really. So overall, The Perfect Neighbor, it's definitely can be heartbreaking because it's, a true story, and it's terrible, but justice was served, so not much else to go on it. So it doesn't really tell you much more than just browsing an article about it. So I give The Perfect Neighbor a 5 out of 10.